Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the April 15th, 2019 board meeting for the Michigan City Port Authority. First order of business is the minutes, approval or correction of last meeting's minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second?
I second.
Second. Any questions? Any questions at all concerning the last meeting? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Comments from the public. Mr. Freeze, good to see you. Already looked at Mr. Cooper, and he didn't have anything right now. All right, we'll give you a chance later on to talk. Glad to have you both here tonight. Harbor Master's report, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, I only have a couple standard updates for you tonight. The 300 dock, they're down to about the last 50 feet or so here on the 300 dock. They've been doing about a slip or more a day. So I imagine they'll finish up by the later part of this week, weather permitting. So that's good. The west parking lot out here, they started laying the paver blocks in the parking areas last week. And they have the first area that they were laying it in, probably 3/4, 80% finished. So I imagine by the end of the week, they'll have the majority of the paver blocks laid. We've not had another meeting since our last park master plan meeting. So I think the next one is scheduled for next week. So maybe we'll find out some more there. And the water is on the 1 through 700 dock now. We're still working on a few problems on the 800 dock, but all the bathhouses are functional. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have the 800 dock totally going and everything will be good for the tournaments. So I'll leave it there unless anybody has any questions on anything.
Questions? Mr. Jones?
Can you give us an update on the landscaping?
No, I don't know anything more about the landscaping. I know the redevelopment commission was going to look at a change order. I have not heard if they accepted that or not. I expect I'll find out more at the next master plan meeting next week.
Okay. One other thing, Tim. You had discussed with us your winter project. And of course, we're all probably at the end of the project period and into the season now, but how did you come out on your
Well, I think
plan?
we did pretty well. We got about 90% of what we were trying to get done accomplished, and we did get a coat of paint on the trailer rack today.
You're kidding.
No?
I can't handle this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? I had one for you, Tim. The 300 dock, we know it's going to be probably completed with the contract work. Did your work, dock boxes back on and all that other stuff ought to be pretty well done?
Yeah, we have a little more than half, maybe 60% of the dock boxes back out there, and probably a little later this week we'll throw the remainder out to catch up to where they are.
Okay.
Larson Danielson has been coming in behind them and putting in the studs for the lights. So I imagine as soon as they finish the decking, they'll come through and reinstall the lights.
Okay.
So I would imagine by the end of next week for sure, if not this week, it should be pretty much wrapped up.
Okay. Can voters get back out there after they've got the decking in?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just looking at a few more days, hopefully.
Right.
And then you essentially open it up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Not hearing any more questions, we'll move on. Ms. Palicki, Harbor Master for Administration, report please.
The fish cleaning station is also up and running. Right now, we have 74 new customers this year, and last year at the end of April we had 69. So we're 5 ahead and we still have another 2 weeks to go. And we have an extra week between board meetings this time also. And that's all I have.
Questions, anyone?
I just have a comment from me. A couple of things on your report, and of course, we're happy with the results of the report. But another thing is that this report indicates that 5 of those new customers are here because of the website. And one of those new customers is a 50-foot slip holder. So I think that's all really good and positive news for us. And also, it's really interesting that northwestern Indiana, outside of LaPorte County, has provided us with 39 new customers. Usually, you see those kinds of numbers coming out of Illinois and not northwestern Indiana. So things have really shifted our way. I think that's all encouraging. Thank you.
Also, I noted I had to ask Mr. Palicki what WOM meant, because I hadn't looked at that on the middle section there, the 20, and that's word of mouth. And I'd forgotten that. But 20, that's darn near 25%. Interesting. Very interesting. Good work. Thank you. Anything else from Ms. Palicki?
Maybe I've asked that before, though. We've gained 74. How much do we know a number that we have lost from last year?
Well, we had that one report last week, and we should have another one for the next meeting. We'll do it again.
Wasn't that one from last week all of last year? I thought that was
What was up to, what was for this year?
Yeah.
I think it was 54, 56 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll do it again next week, next meeting.
Okay. Okay, Dan?
Yes, thank you.
Anything else? Mr. Garrett, budget and financial oversight.
All right, just going to touch on about 6 or 7 items. If you are looking at your list, then you go roughly a quarter of the way down for $5,000. That is from the LaPorte County Convention Tourism, and that is for the boat race advertising, which we do every year. And then you go about 7 down from there for $6,268.10 is our NIPSCO bill. And then one below that is Northern Indiana Mechanical, and that's fuel dock maintenance, and that's for $2,252.15. And for 5 down from there, $3,017.92 is fuel for the forklifts at Trail Creek. And 4 down from there, which is the big one, for $13,547.56. Some Wolf's Marina, that is for easy docks, walkways, and repair parts. And then if you look at the last 2 and combine them, it's just over $2,900 of refunds for customers. You add up those 7 items, it's $33,000 of the 40, which leaves about $7,000 left. In the other 21 items on the list. So if there are no questions.
I'm sorry, what was the Wolf Marine?
That is easy dock, walkways, and repair parts.
Okay.
So, yeah, so if there are no other questions, I would make a motion that we pay our bills as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to pay our bills. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. Any questions on paying our bills? Hearing none, take a vote. All those in favor of paying our bills as shown, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Anything else?
That is all.
All right. Mr. Haynes, claims and insurance?
I've got nothing to report.
Okay. Something came up a couple meetings ago that we said we might need to look into. I know it's a little premature still, but can anybody remind me what it was that we were going to say? Was it one of our projects? We thought since we were doing something, we needed to make sure we're covered.
I think it was the insurance for
The bathhouse?
the bathhouse, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. It was just, yeah, that was it. All right. Not a problem. Anything else? Mr. Haynes, was there anything else? I'm sorry.
Not that I know of. There was one question that was still out about Marquette rowing team.
That's right.
So far, I've not heard back from them on who their new rowing coach is.
Okay.
But allegedly, they're in the process of coming up with a new rowing coach.
Okay.
They're skulls, I think that's what they call them. I'm not sure. They're still not in the way of anything, are they? No. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, moving on. Port operations personnel and marina policy. I don't have anything other that's been covered here in the last few minutes, unless anyone has a question for me. Mr. Johns.
Sam, do you have anything on when the turboat's going to arrive and also when the kayak program's going to be put into effect?
No, I do not.
I can answer some of that. The tour boat hoped to have been here by now. He needed 3 days in a row of 50 degrees to finish up his painting. I spoke with Mr. Terry, I think it was the early part of last week. The kayak stuff, he's planning to have that operational just before Memorial Day weekend. So he wants to get the big boat down here up and running and then worry about the kayaks once it warms up a little bit more.
Well, is it your impression that he has done a lot of work on the boat since last year?
Yeah.
Reconfiguring the interior?
I don't know how much
things?
interior work they've done. I know they did some major surgery on the outside, and they were wanting to repaint the whole outside of it. At least that was my understanding.
Okay.
And I know he's not been indoors, so he's had to just work around the weather to do it.
Okay, thank you.
And he was up at Grand Haven, wasn't he?
Somewhere up that way. Yeah.
Still cold up there. Any other questions for me under operations? Moving on. Mr. Messina, Motor Communications Special Events.
Well, we're starting, I see, to get more and more boats coming in. Talked to a few that have had to move from the 300 that you moved over to the 200. They don't mind it at all for what the benefit's going to be, I think, in the long run.
I think you get a brand new,
Yeah, so it hasn't bothered them at all.
Good.
I know the boaters will be happy that the fish cleaning station water is on and the electric there, and also in the slips. This Saturday is the first tournament that's actually coming up. So it's not a real big, busy tournament, but it is our first one, and about 3 or 4 weekends in a row, it'll be busy down here with fishermen. So
The fishing looks to have been good. I haven't been down there in the last 3 or 4 or 5 days, but every time I walked around there, people were having a lot of big ones. So
fishing has been good, yes.
good. That's good. Anything for Mr. Messina? Mr. Manor, Master Planning, Special Projects, Park Liaison.
I don't have anything for the park board. I do have something for the dock that we're redoing out there. We talked earlier about upgrading the electrical on that, I believe. We talked about that for a while, and Tim reached out, I think, to Edgewater on that, and they've sent us a proposal for a scope of services that they would put together for us. And their scope of services, they include the electrical system review site visit, the preliminary engineering and product research, the bid documents and bidding, and also the construction administration on that. So I don't know whether we need a motion to carry on forward with that, or whether we can just send you know, let Tim follow up
It's
on
gonna
it.
come out of his budget.
Yeah,
It's an expense item.
right,
So
right.
I don't think the board needs it.
Okay. But at least you know, we'll have Tim follow up on this then, and we'll get this this proposal sent to us, and we'll move on from there.
Now, this is the ESD proposal. Everybody familiar with what we're talking about? That's the electric shock drowning issue, and what it would take administratively for our engineers to take a look at what they would do to oversee this project, and to come back and let us know what the amount of the projects would be.
Well, it was that, and it was also to include the individual breakers on the stand, so we didn't have to. If lost one of the main breaker wouldn't kick, then you wouldn't lose everything. So
Right, but this is not to complete the project. This is just the administrative portion.
Right.
That's what let the board
That's
know.
what this is, yes.
Because we could be looking at get a little bit extra money than $12,000 or whatever that was.
Yeah,
Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson.
On the subject of the electrical shock drowning, I think it was last week, I noticed that somewhere in southern Indiana, 2 boys were drowned trying to rescue a dog from the water. And the article did not have anything to say about electrical shock drowning, but the way I read the article, everything in that indicated to me that's what happened to those 2 kids, that they really didn't drown.
Yeah, I saw that article too. Thanks for bringing that up.
You know, it wasn't that long ago that we never heard of that phenomenon. Yeah. We didn't know that situation existed anywhere.
A couple years back, we heard of it. Yeah.
Okay. Master will proceed with that item.
Yeah.
Bruce, go ahead.
The other thing I have is on the bathhouse. We met with Roger last week. He has finalized, and we finalized together everything that we wanted on it and gave it to him. And he has put it all together, and he is actually sending this down to the state if it's not already there. You have to send it to the state before you can go out for bids because of the ADA, how do you say that?
Compliance?
Compliance, yes, thank you. So when he gets the okay from the state, he will be sending that out for bids.
Okay. This is just the administrative part of what we had, of what we've talked about for quite a while. It's just moving ahead, seeing what the new bathhouse would look like and the cost. And this is part of the process. We did this with the other ones coming out of Edgewater also. Okay. And I know this is an issue that we'll probably discuss tonight or in your board meeting, but this is just moving forward. This is.
I don't think we can discuss that actually until we receive the bids.
Okay.
Once we receive the bids, then we can talk about it. I mean,
Okay.
there's no sense in discussing it now.
You know, if you look back on this, Sam, we still have an open motion and an approved motion by the board to see bids on that.
Yes.
That's true.
So the board does not need to take any additional action to go ahead and seek bids.
Right.
I wasn't talking about seeking new bids because I was going to bring that up also. I'm aware of that. I researched that also. That's looking forward to a new one. What I was suggesting, what I was meaning when I said we might have a discussion on this, I believe it. There a discussion that Mr. Messina brought up at the last meeting. He and Mr. Garrett had talked, so I just presumed that there might be some discussion later on from continuing from what they had. But I am well aware that that we had back in January of this year we made a motion. It was accepted. It was Mr. John's motion to go ahead through the bidding process on anything new. That was all just administrative, just to see where we stand. So. I'm just trying to clarify. Bruce, go ahead.
I'm done. That's it. Nothing else.
Okay. Any questions right now on Mr. Manor? anything he brought up? All right, Mrs. Meir, Advertising Public Relations.
I have nothing to report.
Nice article in the paper this morning on the State of the City address. Very, very good.
Yes, it was.
Anything for Mrs. Meir? Attorney's report, Mr. Zach Millen.
Yes, sir. I'll be consulting with staff about the boat auction that occurred and then determining if there were any balances remaining. I suspect there probably were after the auctions, and then determining whether it would be worthwhile to go forward with small claims or other actions against any of the boaters whose boats were auctioned to try to collect any shortages as a result of the amount that the boat sold for at the auction not meeting what was owed to the Port Authority for whatever it was, a slip or winter storage or summer storage or any work that was done on. So I should be meeting with staff this week to make that determination.
I'm not sure I caught all of that, but we've had the auction, and whatever people have submitted is available to either the staff or yourself. Somebody, go ahead.
It just started today, and I think it
Is
goes
that it?
15 days. We have.
Oh, we got 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It'll be before the
Yeah,
next
so
meeting.
after it's completed,
Okay.
then we'll make the determination if there are shortages or rarities.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Anything else?
That's all I have, sir.
Any questions? Any questions, Aaron?
Just to refresh my memory, how many days do we give them once it's complete to remove?
I think what we decided was that we would give them a reasonable time.
Okay.
Because, we don't want them to
Right.
have to come with a trailer if they're planning on coming in with a trailer within a week or so.
Yeah.
But they're advised that they need to, it's their property and they're going to have to remove it. If they don't remove it, then they're going to get charged.
Okay. I knew that we had come up with something, no, I just couldn't remember what it was. It's been a while since we've done an auction.
I know you had brought that up about a month ago or so, and it was, I know Joe would look back into that, but it's good we talked about that again tonight, so we all are on the right page. Anybody else have anything for Mr. Zach Noon? Okay, moving forward. New business. Anyone have any new business to bring before the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. Do we have any old business to bring before the board? Mr. Messina?
Yeah, maybe premature on this. Maybe Mr. Frame may have an update on Freedom Boats as to what they're doing. Are they coming back here?
Yes, they'll be here. They have 4 slips here over on the 100 dock.
So they, from last year, Trail Creek, they decided to come back.
Right.
Well, they didn't they move up here last year after?
They started here. They were here for 2 years, I think. Then they went to Trail Creek temporarily till they got some pushback from their members. Then they started bringing 2 of them up here and left 1 at Trail Creek.
Okay.
That was last year. And now for this year, apparently they're getting a 4th boat, and they're going to have all 4 of them here on the 100 dock.
On that subject with Freedom Boat, they had their big open house last Saturday in St. Joe, and it apparently went pretty well.
Good.
So it looks like that program is finally taking hold.
Yeah, good. Okay, that's interesting. Does that mean, do we think that they're going to have something open up in St. Joe instead of here?
Well, they already have it.
Oh, they did? Yeah. I didn't realize that. I knew they were from that area, and I thought that's...
Yeah, they were there first, and they expanded down to here.
Gotcha. Good information. Any other new business from anyone else? Any other comments, questions on that? Yep, we passed that. I meant old business. Any other old business we need to talk about?
I have one.
Mr. Johns.
Last week we talked about asking the staff to notify the past overnight rental customers and slip holders who were former slip holders but no longer with us, advertising them about the new parking and the benefits both to the city and to the recreational boating industry. Did you?
We've started working on it. It's probably going to take another 2 weeks to finish it up at this time of year.
Okay. Could the board have a copy of the letter when you get it all finished? Sure. And I'm not saying for approval, it's just for information.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other old business? John?
I was asked last meeting about the if anybody contacted Captain Ed. I was in contact with Captain Ed about the cardboard boat race, and he hasn't heard anything either. So I don't know. Have you heard anything?
Well, I can't get a definite answer. That's why I didn't bring it up. I'm still waiting on a definite answer. Yes.
Let's refresh our memories on that. Didn't last year the city take over somehow, either through the park department or so, the insurance issue, and would they take it over the city or the park department when they take it over the overall responsibility, and we would just be a servicing agent for them? Okay, that's what I thought. So it's just informational for us that we're looking for,
right.
So that we know what.
Who are we waiting an answer from?
Sir?
Who are we waiting an answer from?
Correct.
Answer for what?
We have a inquiry into the Abigail. They are the events coordinator, and I spoke to one of city workers today, the police department, and they could not give me a definite answer because I was under the impression that they were the ones handling this now. So I'm waiting back from Abigail, answer from Abigail, the events coordinator.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I thought we'd have a little more discussion here, but evidently not tonight. Anything else on old business to come before the board? Hearing none. Guest recognition, gentlemen. All right. Thank you. Thanks for attending. Take a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
You've got it. Next meeting is
You're right on
May
there.
6th. May 6th. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I gotta make up for last time.